Hello and welcome back to Butcher That Model. This time we're going to have a look at our Myrmourn Banshees. Now then, what makes Banshees so good? If you're coming up against a player who relies heavily on magic, Banshees are your best friend, because Banshees thrive on eating magic. So if you're coming up against somebody that's got a Zeech army or a Seraphon army that's going to rely heavily on magic, take as many of these girls as you can. Now I field 12, and the reason points allowing, the reason I would like to field 12 is for their magic eating abilities. You treat them the same way as you do a wizard when it comes to dispelling. However, once during the enemy hero phase, if the unit is within 18 inches of an enemy wizard that successfully casts a spell, this unit can attempt to unbind the spell in the same manner as a wizard, making the unbinding roll normally. But add 1 to result for every 4 models in this unit. So if you're fielding 12, you're adding 3 to your unbind roll. They're not going to get magic off at all. It is absolutely, totally devastating and frustrating for somebody who is fielding a magic heavy army when they come across a unit of 12 Banshees. Watch their face drop, because they just know they might as well just give up and go home now. They're not going to get, at least 80% of their spells are going to get unbound. And the other good thing about these is, if you're up against somebody that's using endless spells, if this unit is within 6 inches of an endless spell, this unit can attempt to dispel the endless spell in the same manner as a wizard. If this unit successfully dispels an endless spell, it suffers a D3 mortal wound, but you add 1 to the attack characteristics of this unit's shield daggers. Brilliant, absolutely fantastic. If you're up against somebody who likes using magic, they're going to hate you. They really are going to hate you for fielding Banshees. So let's get one built. Ever so simple, really nice model to do. All I've done with this one is I've taken her off the sprue, I've sanded down the nubs, and I've undercoated, and that's all I've done. Really simple, and she's pretty much ready to go. All we're going to do is we're going to use a little bit of, I've already put the colours on my wet palette, I'm all ready to go. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to paint her basque. Now I use Bugman's Glow, because I think it just gives a really nice leather sort of look once it's been washed with Michael Flesh Shade. It really does give a nice leather look to it. So we'll just get in there, give her a paint. Ever so simple, turn around, we'll do the back. I'm one of these, you know me by now. If it's there, I'll paint it. You're never going to see, but I know it's there. Really, really simple. Ooh, I missed a tiny bit there. And the same with the back. We'll do the back, though you're never going to see it because it's around the back of her. Now you could build this and then paint her, because it's one of the new easy build push fits. It's nice to be able to get in without struggling. There we go. So that's, we'll just do that bit inside. to dry for a couple of minutes, and then give it a nice quick wash with Viking Flesh Shade, and that will give us a very nice leather look. Now then, as we're here, we might as well, I like to do a bottom jaw. I like to just paint that with Ushabti brown, just to give it a bit more colour, because they are, in the colour department, they are quite bland. They look stunning, they look beautiful. Oh, just caught that there. So just give a jaw, a bottom jaw, just a tiny bit of the Ushabtis. Right then. So while that's drying, let's have a look at the base. I want to coat the base black. Now it's a scenic base, absolutely beautiful. There's loads and loads of detail for you to pick out on this. So as that's drying, let's give that a bit of a, what we'll do first, we'll get our dry brush, we'll get into a bit of Scabe and Blight Dinge, and then we'll start picking out the gravel and the stonework. Get in there, give it a scrub around. Give it another do. Don't worry about covering all the rest of the detail, we're going to paint it again in a second. But there's so much stuff on these bases. Once you start looking and getting into them, and I'm going to go look, there's all sorts of broken pottery, there's bones and roots and so much texture, leaves and all sorts. It's absolutely brilliant. I love these bases. Let's get in there with a bit of a lighter tone now, a bit of Dawnstone, and then start picking out the edge of this stonework. There's obviously somebody's tomb, somebody's grave. Alright. Now we'll get into a bit of a lighter grey. We'll go into a Celestra grey. A tiny bit too much on that. Never mind. I'm just getting in and out. And already that's starting to look like very nice stonework. Right, and what that'll do is that will now pick out as well and give a nice undercoat, a nice lighter shade for us to start working on, for picking out all the bones and all the leaves and all the purple roses. I always do my Nighthaunt roses purple, because we have a fantastic figure, fantastic miniature called the Briar Queen. Now she's not actually for Age of Sigmar, although you can actually just use her as a Banshee. She's part of the Blackstone Fortress game, where you get her and you get a few of her companions with it. That's an absolutely beautiful miniature. And even if you're not going to use her on the table, it's one of my, it's on my to buy list just because it is a beautifully sculpted miniature, and one that I just like to paint. I don't only play, I like to paint and collect the miniatures. That's what I like to do. So her basket is now had time to dry, so what we'll do is straight out of the pot, because it is a wash and it's designed to come straight out of the pot. We don't have to worry about thinning it down and watering it down. So we're just going to get in here and we can do her jaw. You can give that a bit of a touch, and then her basque. This is flesh tone without flesh tones. Flesh tones without flesh. The beauty of these Nighthawk miniatures is the way they've sculpted it with the use of voids is absolutely beautiful. The lack of detail in the detail, if you know what I mean, is absolutely very, very clever. And whoever designed the Nighthawk miniatures in my book deserves a pat on the back, because they are beautifully made. So let's just get in. That's a bit of a wash. Now then, I'll leave that to dry, and then we'll go back to our base. Pop the lid on that before I knock it flying, and then Dad shouts at me for knocking paint over and not using a Dad's device to hold it. I think I might have got away with that. If he doesn't watch the video, I think I've got away with that one. Right, so let's get in here. Let's get a bit of white on the guard. Let's start picking out things we want to look quite bright. So it's some of the leaves. Some more leaves. There's another one. You could spend ages going around this, finding all these little leaves and doobies and doohickeys and whatnots and roots, and absolutely brilliant. Around there, get that root done. We'll do that skull because we want that quite light. There's somebody's rib cage there, and somebody's pelvis, so we'll get that we'll lighten that up, ready for adding some bone colour to it. There's another root there. You could spend ages just going around this. There's another leaf there. I have no idea what that shape is there. Probably a bit of broken pot or something. Somebody's ceremonial offering that they put in the grave. Right then. So let's put that to one side, let that dry. Now then, let's get on to our wonderful stuff, which is our Nighthawk Gloom. So we'll put some of this on our palette. Now we need this quite watered down, quite thin. And what we want to do, I want to start working on our ropes now. We want to get this into all the creases. Now this is going to look really strange in a minute. You're going to think me doing, what the hell is he doing? Let's get it on, get it down the bottom. Get it in the creases where we want it. And then give it a snow coating round. And what we're going to do, we're going to leave this to dry quite thoroughly. It looks quite messy at the moment, fear not. we definitely want it where her body meets her basque, or her robes meet her basque. We want it there, definitely. We need to get it quite heavily in the creases, but not overly heavy anywhere else. I want to try and make the creases of her robe really stand out. I'll get it in there, into her arms. These are such simple things to paint, but the effect when it's finished is absolutely stunning. We need to get in there. That's got the blue down where we want it. On that, we'll do it on her head. Now you want to get it in her eye sockets quite heavily, and then you'll notice where her cheekbones are. On one side it's very well pronounced, on the other side it's not that pronounced. You want to get some in there though. That's what we're going to do in a minute when this is all dried. Is we're going to tone it down a little bit. Oh, a bit on the inside. Tone it down a little bit, and we're going to dry brush the high points and get them back to almost pure white. Right, so what we need to do now is we need to leave that now. When you're doing that, what you could do is go back to your base and start doing all your little fiddly details. So what I'll do now is I'll use our time machine. I'll pause it, I'll fill in the details on the base, and then we'll leave that to dry. When it's dry, we'll come back and we'll do some dry brushing. So I'll see you in a second. Half a second. It's a time machine. Right, time machined it. Now all we want to do now is we want to get into our ceramite white and a dry brush, and what we want to do is we want to start toning some of this blue down, and literally just get in and start very gently dry brushing and building up. Now this takes me a long time dry brushing, because I will take so much paint off the brush there is absolutely nothing left but a few bits of pigment left in between bristles, and I'll take ages building up slowly. That's one thing, like I said earlier, one thing nobody can teach you is patience. You have to learn that yourself, and dry brushing is one of those patient techniques. So we'll time machine this again. I'll give it another pause, and I'll probably spend the next half an hour giving this a good old dry brush. So I'll see you in half a second. It's time machine. Time machine. Now I'm very happy with the dry brushing. That's turned out alright. So all that's left to do now is a couple of little tiny fiddly bits, which is the hourglass on her side and her dagger. So what we're going to do with the hourglass is we undercoated it black, and then I painted the inside with ceramite white, and we're just going to paint a bit of gold on there on the hourglass. Give it a bit of gold, and then what we're going to do is give that a second or two to dry, and then we'll get in with our technical paint X-ray flame. Oh, blimey, I've just touched. Let's go back into a grey. I'm thinning that gold a bit more than I would like to. So we toned it down with a bit of grey. We'll leave that to dry and then we'll touch that up with the white. So, X-ray flame, where's that gone? Yes. My big hairy arm. Right there. And then all we want to do is where the glass is, we just need to drop in a bit of our X-ray flame. It would help if I do it on camera, wouldn't it? So I'm a numpty. Right, leave that to dry. Now don't forget, if you ever make a mistake like I just did then, leave it to dry and then go in with the appropriate colours and just touch it up. Just whatever you do, just leave it to dry before you start trying to repair things. And it only takes a couple of minutes. It's acrylic paint, it's a nice warm room, it'll dry in seconds. Right, so her blade, what we'll do is we'll just use a bit of silver, lead belcher, whatever you want. We'll leave that to dry, and then all you need to do with that is just use some nylon oxide, just to give it that old ancient patina. And then all that's left to do then is clip her together and she's finished. So I'll pause it again, I'll get her all built up together and then we'll see what she looks like in the end. It's that simple, it really is a simple miniature to paint. So I'll see you in a second. And there we go. One very simple to paint Banshee, ready to upset anybody that brings a wizard onto the table against the night hunt. They're in for a nasty shock. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Nice and simple technique, and it looks fantastic when it's done. So I'll see you in our next episode. What's it going to be? We'll have to wait and see. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.